Lula. All right. So again, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to talk today. We're going to talk about marketing because in this industry, one of the most important things to do is to market, right? If you are the smartest person in the room when it comes to understanding product and information about our industry, but you're not marketing, no one's going to be able to get that information. So we're going to talk about strategies regarding digital outreach, email, advertising, and opportunities for ways to create an effective marketing campaign. Now, what you'll see throughout this presentation, our goals and objectives of it is to really understand what makes a life insurance, marketing campaign effective. Because let's be honest, not a lot of people like talking about life insurance. So how can you make it effective? Uh, we're going to learn a couple digital marketing strategies to reach out and convert, prospects, and then ultimately review the best practices in regards to email marketing and advertising. So, thinking right off the bat, why effective marketing matters. So, when you think about it, there's only so many hours in the day, right? You got 24 hours. Most people are awake for, let's just say, 18 hours ish or you know 14 depending on who you are, but there's only a certain amount of time in the day. So when you think about the idea of effective marketing, it gives you opportunities to create potential clients and add value to them. It helps you kind of cut through that noise and build trust with prospects, but also reach out to more prospects and opportunity. um, and when you think about it, the thing that I don't want you guys to get confused about is, leads versus actual relationships. Um, Typically, when you get leads in this industry, it can be a quick burst of income, but oftentimes people rely too much on them, and the dependency can actually hurt in the long run, especially with rules and regulations changing about who can make phone calls and how those rules and regulations work. Just recently, Facebook had a update to their marketing and advertisements, and a bunch of people who did a lot of Facebook ads and marketing are now trying to scramble and find different ways to promote their business. So it can be a huge issue when things change like that. So you have to think of different ways that you can create effective marketing strategies, but also, as you see, helps agents cut through noise and build trust with prospects. They're going to look you up. They're going to look at your website if you have one. I've talked to several people before, and when you think about having a email address, do you think it would be more reputable to have phil@valorfs.com or phillifeinsuranceagent@gmail.com? So when you talk about brand reputation and marketing, you're marketing yourself. And if you think about the context of Gmail, everyone has a Gmail account. You can build the foundation off a Gmail account. But, for, say $10 a month or, $100 a year or whatever, you can have a domain, you can have an email address based off of that, like I have for mine. And what it does is it builds that reputation and credibility as well. Because if I was being prospected by someone, same knowledge, same information, I would probably take the info from someone that wasn't a Gmail versus someone who has their own personal business and brand. So it can be very important, especially for marketing yourself. Um, and then when you talk about that, it does increase your conversion rates and drive higher quality leads. So once again, branding from the standpoint of website, visibility, knowledge, and everything. It's all about building that long-term brand. So we look at campaign designs. The first thing you want to understand is, who is your audience? So a good example here, like if I were to look at an audience for myself, okay, let's say I, Phil Resch, have just decided to go into the insurance industry. Well, my prior history was in technology. I had a lot of friends who were in the tech space. So I would probably want to understand things that would occur in the tech space. So a lot of people that I deal with now are IT business owners. So when you think about the standpoint from that, you've got people who are going to have employees. You talk about tax deductions. You talk about strategies that can help them save their clients or save their employees and give them more tax deductions. Another friend of mine who's been a great friend of mine since high school, he's been in the industry he's been in the hospitality industry. He worked in bartending, he worked in restaurants and things like that. And so, once again, when you think about restaurant owners and business owners, it goes back to the same concept of understanding what their pain points are, figuring out a strategy around it. And when you talk about messaging, right? When you talk about messaging, we always play off emotional. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the emotional is important because we have an emotional type of sale. But to the extent of what some people are doing, say for example's sake, right now with all the stock market going up and down and up and down, um, there's one thing between emotional and there's another thing to do it with fear. And when you have fear-based conversations to scare people into buying your products, a year from now, 2 years from now, they might have a different tune. And you might be sitting there going like, well, at the time it made sense and you could run into some issues. I think at every aspect, you need to have a proper education as to why certain products and portfolios make sense. Like for me, I love insurance. I love annuities. But would I put all my money right now today in an annuity at 43? Probably not. I would put some in to protect and know that I won't lose that, but I'd probably buy in the dip and invest in the S&P 500 right now too. So we just need to make sure that we're doing right by our clients from a foundational standpoint. And that's why I say there's a difference between emotional and scaring someone. So when you think of emotional, what I would say is, all right, let's take the life insurance side. Hey, Phil, I understand that, you are the breadwinner of the household. Let me ask you a question. What's your plan if you don't make it home tonight for the family? And then pause. You don't have to wait for the entire plan, but it's to start to get them to think. They're gonna flutter. They'll be like, I don't know. And then you could just simply ask things like, would it make sense if we had a conversation to write it out and get some type of plan together? So it's all about emotional messaging. It's not about scaring the crap out of them. Um, then you think about the type of channel that you're going to do. So you think your message to a media platform, whether it's social media, emails, paid ads, even marketing from the standpoint of are you doing booths in your local community at events? One of my business partners, what he's doing right now is he's doing, so we work in the athlete market too. So he's signing kids to these NIL, which stands for name, image, and likeness agreements for like $500, and they're going to rep the logo of our organization for that in Instagram posts, Facebook, social media. We've partnered with local restaurants to say like, hey, if Phil Resch sent you, you're going to get 10% off your bill, and then a portion of that will go to the student athlete so you start to figure out what type of messaging you need to match with the platform. And so that can work digitally, social media, emails. So, like all of you are here for a reason, right? You got it some form or another through either Facebook or email or just knowing me personally, an invitation to come to these type of trainings. So, my job is to educate, teach, train, and coach. And if you like what you hear, ultimately you want to partner with, that's the next step. So once again, matching the message to the right platform is a huge deal. You're probably not going to solicit certain groups over social media. So if you deal with like, very elderly people, there's not a lot, when it comes to like 70 plus year olds, I don't think that are really using Facebook or Instagram too much. But if you're looking for a younger audience, you can also match things on, talking about paid ads. So a lot of stuff from that can be appropriate, and it's trial and error. I hate to say it. There's been plenty of lunch and learns that I've done over the past few weeks. Had great success in Orlando, California, Dallas. Didn't have such a great success in Charlotte. We only had like three people there. And Nashville, we have to push to after the convention. Why? Not because, well, poor attendance, but the bigger reason is that Facebook decided to block our ads. So you have to just kind of be prepared for certain things, trial and error, so on and so forth. Ultimately leading to a clear, what you see, CTA, another acronym, right? Call to action. What are the next steps? So when you talk to people, either through your messaging on your social media, is there a call to action? So it's always nice to give, just fluffy information, but if there's nothing coming from it, then what are you doing it for? You always have to think with the end in mind. Why are you doing this? From the standpoint of, are you trying to solicit business? Are you trying to build relationships? Are you trying to get referrals? All of those are a big deal, but if you have no call to action, it's just like the person who doesn't get a will. There's been studies that show that 100% of people are going to die. So if you don't have a plan, that's still a plan. It's just a very, very bad plan. So we as an industry often fly by the seat of our pants, just trying to go from opportunity to opportunity to opportunity. When if we just slow down, think of the steps and process with the call to action, you'll probably make way more money as well as opposed to just being scattered. And then things like automation, you can follow up with, you can have strategies to re-engage. So Valor has, over 500 agents in the system. Are they all writing? No. But out of nowhere, like I'll send emails for newsletters and updates and things like that. And out of the blue, you'll get some rando person saying, "Hey, I got a client who needs term insurance," or something like that. So it's all about automation and re-engagement. Newsletters are a fantastic thing to deliver to your prospects or clients. So if you've sold cases to clients, is it nice to have a drip campaign once a month to say, "Hey, here's what's going on," or even quarterly? It doesn't have to be like always in their face, but something to let people understand and realize that you're still there, you still care about them. You could tag their birthday if you have a CRM system, but it's all about automation and staying with people to make sure that you're going to continue to get the business from them. Because once again, they know people too, and it's all about referrals. So we'll look here at digital marketing strategies. So first is a website. So create targeted landing pages with strong call to actions. So I'm going to use this as an example to pull back up my great collaboration. See what I did there? All about marketing, right? But you have a call to action. You got the date and the time here. Conference is power packed. Register today. Here's your events and everything that goes along with it. This is a funnel page that is actually off of the main page right here. So we've created separate funnel pages for the different locations and times. So when you talk about the advertising, creating a targeted landing page with strong call to actions, the idea is we want to entice people in. We want to give them something that matters to them. It doesn't matter to us. We want it to matter to the customer. That's why, again, understanding your market and who you're trying to reach to makes the most important sense to having these type of landing pages. I can't talk about disability insurance for doctors if I'm targeting, small business owners who own bars, right? It makes no sense. So they have to be targeted, pointed with strong call to action. Now, typically, what people will do is they'll use social media to lead to a funnel page with a call to action. So if you arouse some intent of questions through social media reels, testimonials. You talk about, facts and information that get people thinking. It's enough for them to say, hey, click here. And then once again, it brings you back to the website and the funnel design for them to get more information. And then if they have the information that they want from there, then typically they click on I want to know more. And that's to book an appointment with you, whether virtual, phone, or online. But the idea is how do you get them to ask for more information, research and study? And there's tons of information nowadays that show that people want to do their own research, they want to study, they want to figure out if it makes sense and is beneficial for them before they even engage a conversation with a professional. So that's why having things like social media reels, consistency is key. You can do video marketing. So if you do like a little Q&A with someone, so like you'll see videos of me and my partner Nathan, who's my marketer, and we'll do like a Q&A session about like the collaboration coming up, or if we're going to do a certain event, or if we're just talking, it's just firing back and forth, almost like a podcast, but some of that video marketing can be chopped up into little clips and put onto your site, or your social media content and things like that. And then a big one is, SEO and paid ads. So again, things like paid ads, Facebook paid ads, I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you have experienced people helping you. I don't even do it personally. All the ads you guys may see from me are done from the marketing team that I'm paying for. So the other thing you always want to focus on is the strengths of what you are good at, and then farm out and pay other people to do the things you're weak at. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a lot of time, which time is money, on something you might not be good at to try and improve on it, and it'll just waste your time from doing the things you're good at. Um, Good example, I think it was Mark Cuban talked about how he always pays for valet. Even though it costs some money, he would rather get to his appointments quicker because time is more important to him than paying the, $20 for valet. Or same thing with like mowing the lawn. Instead of mowing the lawn, which is a mundane task, people will pay someone else to mow the lawn so they can stay focused on what they're doing. All of that being said, when you talk about concentrated efforts, paid ads, and stuff like that, if you don't know how to do it, you got to work with someone who can do it. So digital marketing is a huge one. Email marketing is another opportunity to, again, stay in front of people. You want to talk about something that will entice people to come in, like major changes in the healthcare market, something like that. Something very short to bring them in, and then you want to bring in the value first. So you think about the idea of the subject, then you come in with a power piece, whether it be a paragraph or a couple bullet points, and then you want to talk about why it's important, fundamentally speaking, those bullet points that you provided, all the training behind that. So like you have a problem, healthcare is changing, it's going to be higher in cost. What are the driving factors to that? How can you help solve a problem that you put in front of them, right? You want to personalize the content and segment it. So oftentimes, if you have a CRM system, you can content or tag certain customers. So you might say like young client, high net worth, older client, basic income, or something like that. And then you can create segmented email newsletters depending on who you want to address and talk to. Um, A/B testing is cool. Again, if you have the conversation or time to do it, I should say. you basically figure out which is more impactful. So as you're sending out emails, having a CRM behind the scenes to see who's opening it, who's blocking you, who's actually reading it, who's clicking on certain links, all of that information is on the back end, and you can do A/B testing by figuring out what's more appealing to refine your message and grow it. And so the big thing is when they say don't forget a straw post email follow-up sequence, that would be like, hey, register for this event. And then you have a chain. So someone says yes, and they go into this pile. Then you have a bunch that say no or don't open it. Once again, there's a wait 3 days, and then hey, we sent you an email on this. You didn't see it? Here it is again. And then hopefully they funnel over to the yes. So it's creating a funnel process for people in regards to trying to get a message across quickly and effectively, and then ultimately continue that process. So we talk about advertising tips at work, using testimonials or real life stories to build trust. That's probably one of the best things. You can always tell how good you are to yourself and to everybody else. But if someone else says it unsolicited, or you could ask them if they'd like to, post a testimonial or something like that. Now all of a sudden you have rapport and a greater brand because it's not just you saying it. Um, I like, you know, when you talk about urgency, limited time offer, stuff like that can go one of two ways, in my personal opinion. I think urgency is important because it does help people move along quicker. And it's kind of funny because, you'll see that a lot in Amazon. They'll say only five left. Then you come back a month later or a week later, only five left, so sometimes having that urgency can get people to buy quicker or at least start the process. I look at it one of two ways. So you could say something like calendar is filling up quick with appointments, book yours today before it's too late, stuff like that. That can help people kind of grow in getting to you quicker. Or if you're doing a seminar, only a certain amount of seats left, act now. So you kind of set the expectation of what you're looking for. I'm personally a fan of visuals inside of emails. So when you're talking to your customers, when you're talking to your clientele, let's be honest, most people don't like reading. But if you have pretty pictures with some information on it, it gets the point across quicker. So for those who aren't using it, I'd highly recommend getting Canva. I think everybody uses Canva in the marketing world. They've got tons of content and intel on there. Hell, this presentation was made on Canva, so they have a lot of insight and intel that's available to help you deliver your message, and you can portray it with a pretty picture as opposed to a bunch of text. And the big thing is always, constantly monitoring your metrics. So how is your information performing? How is everything moving forward from people actually reading your content and your emails? And the big thing now is everyone is looking at it on their mobile device. So mobile first design is always more important. As simple as it can be, but most people have computers in their hands and they see that more than being on their actual computers. So it's always important to think mobile first. So when we talk about tailoring communication to the audience, case number one, this is like a case study. We'll talk about targeting young families. So you talk about life insurance benefits. What about the kids? What about, what happens if you don't make it home tonight? So you can create a Facebook series with, say, 7 or 8 series. It can be videos, testimonials, all leading to a landing page as to why it's so important to buy life insurance. And so you can create leads off of that, and if you felt like doing lead generation and selling the leads, you can. So if you like more of the marketing concept or idea, or from the standpoint of, building it for yourself, ultimately allowing that the opportunity to grow your own business, or if you are a manager for a team and you want to help build opportunities for them to grow, just a different way that you can do it. But if you don't have this ability to do this, farm it out, partner with people who do know how to do it to ultimately help you get to where you want to be from a goal standpoint. Case number two, upselling clients. So a client has term policies, unaware of IUL benefits. So if you have clients, let's say we've sold a lot of term insurance, right? Every month, you could probably pull up a prospect list of people who bought term insurance where there's renewals. And so instead of doing that, you can create a nurturing campaign and showing the benefits of a comparison between what they have and what they could have. And a 22% conversion rate from email to booked appointments means a lot more opportunity for compensation. And also, once again, from the newsletter standpoint, you're staying in front of your clients. So when you aren't staying in front of your clients is when they get idle eyes and all of a sudden lured away from someone else for someone else, and then you have to have a different type of conversation. So keys to campaign success, staying consistent in your branding and messaging. You don't want to be selling life insurance one day, then solar panels the next day, then you're an Amazon, reseller the next day. It gets confusing and it lacks consistency. Speak to the why. Don't just sell features. So if you sell the sizzle, not the steak, you're going to go a lot further. Pain points, pushing the bruise, if you will, is way more important than saying, hey, this annuity has a 30% bonus and a roll-up rate. No one knows what that is. You want to talk about stories to create that connection. So whether you are a relational person like myself, a lot of people that I used to wholesale to would always see on my computer a picture of my kids. And it's not that I am, always a fan of just showing off my kids, but it's an emotional connection because a lot of people that I talk to also have kids. And so I've talked to people who I've used to, wholesale to who we catch up one point and they're like, oh my gosh, how's Cameron and Gavin? That tells you that there was a human connection and it builds rapport and trust. You always want to what we call check your six, measure and tweak and optimize, to get the better results. So if you're not measuring the analysis of what you're doing, and you might be missing on every single channel, but you think you're being effective and never getting the right message across. So you have to always check your six, tweak, and continue to optimize the process and ultimately pairing digital strategies with real time. So personal touch is always so important. That's why I've never been a, buy leads and just talk to people over the phone kind of guy, because statistically speaking, probably about half of those are going to fall off the books. There is no emotional connection. You're not there with them. Unless you're really, really good. I'm not going to knock it. I mean, there's always that bell curve and people at both sides of the spectrum. But for the most part, you want to be out there, you want to be talking to people, getting in your community. So a lot of you have heard from me in the past. Um, do good for your community will do good for you. So it's the same thing here. Personal touch is key. So all that being said, I'll show you an example of, like the CRM that I use, but want to just first ask, does anyone have any questions, kind of about what we talked about here, right off the bat?
No questions from
No questions. All right. So either did
this.
really good or really bad.
Yeah, this
So,
we understood. This takes every day 2-3 hours of doing marketing.
yep,
Yeah, start.
that's the biggest thing. And
Hey
blocking
Phil,
time. Yeah, go ahead, Roshni.
I'm sorry, am I interrupting?
No, take it away. You sound better than
I,
I do, so dive on in.
no, of course not. Yes, Phil, a quick question. It's about the referrals. While
Yeah.
asking for the referrals, is there a protocol? Is there a way that we ask for referrals? How do we easily get them?
So what I would say with referrals, it's a different animal. So when you think about it, if I said to you, say like Roshni, hey, I really appreciate the business. Um, you know, to help your family get to where they need to be, protect you when you need it the most, is my utmost importance. Would you agree? Absolutely. Do you have any other questions for me? No, I think you did a great job. Well, I have one question for you, if you don't mind. I'd be remiss to say that, my livelihood is based off of referrals and opportunities to give other people the same type of service I just provided for you. If you don't mind, I would love to reach out to some people if that you're comfortable sharing my information with to see if I can give them the same type of value I gave you. So I wouldn't do it if there was a poor experience, right? You want to make sure it's, at the time where they're feeling happy with the purchase and everything, and then ultimately asking for those referrals at that point. That's usually the best way to approach it. So, does that help? I'll assume you said yes. So,
Thank you so much. That
uh,
helps.
no problem. So
Mhm.
just to show you here, just a real quick example. So we use a company called Leadbase, which is a form of Go High Level. And so off of this is typically what you look at for marketing. And there's some metrics here on the page. You can do follow-ups and things like that. But I won't show you contacts, but when you think about marketing, some things that you can do if you have the right type of planning is you have all your social media accounts in one spot. They can post in all places. You can have things like text alerts as to when training is starting. And then ultimately, when you think about that, you can also see from the standpoint of who's actually looking at your stuff. So, for example's sake, like if I looked up emails and the campaigns, you'd see that I send out emails on a weekly basis, and I can see, who's opening them, what type of success ratio, how many people have skipped it or not seen it, bad email addresses, things like that. So you take that data, refine it, and ultimately find the next step as to what you're going to talk about for your customers. You'll see click rates, like it'll go up or down. So there's a lot of statistics inside the marketing. Now, if you're not familiar with this and you want to learn more about it, I do have a team that does marketing. They can do things like, so our Valor website, they created this. This is designed more for agent to agent as opposed to agent to customer. But if you want more of a customer facing website, they can help build a website, build a logo for branding, and give you this back office support for $197 a month. So when you talk about having some content, some opportunity, this can combine it all in one place. When you talk about consistency, you can create a newsletter calendar, you can create a marketing calendar, all in one spot. And we continue to refine and grow from it too. Like I'm starting to add certain things like going right to our affiliate partners at 3Mark. And we'll have direct access to go right to WinFlex for illustrations and stuff. So we're continuing to grow out on this platform too. So a lot of cool stuff, a lot more stuff coming down the pike. But when it comes to the idea of truly building your branding, having the right support system as well is a huge deal. So, what I would say is from the standpoint here, um, if you have any questions, any follow-up conversation that you want to have, feel free to email me, phil@valorfs.com. Ultimately, would love to see how we can partner together. And I'll be traipsing around the country a lot, so just trying to help a lot of my business partners continue to grow and prospect and help as many agents as we can. So I'll open the floor for any questions on this or any questions at all, because I know we got about 15 minutes or so, but just wanted to see if there are any other questions, whether on topic or off, that you felt like asking. I'm more than willing to spend a few minutes on that as well. Nothing. Everyone's just so dumbfounded, so excited by what I said that they have nothing. Preeti, I saw you just came on. What's up?
We're thinking, Phil, what does the
Yeah.
off-topic questions?
Oh, I was gonna say, there's always something, right?
Yeah.
So, well, the big thing is, I always say that if you like these meetings, if you think it's of value to other people as well, feel free to share it with others. They can register, come in, and if they feel like this is a place where they can continue to grow, learn, and build off of, then that's the most important part. I've got strategic partners all across the country if you're looking for local resource help as well, and we're continuing to build that out too. So we got people in Texas, California, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Carolinas. So we're all over the place. But the idea is to help support you guys in your venture and grow. Most importantly, is to take care of your communities. So that's the big thing. Stalled long enough. So what I'll say is I appreciate the time today, guys. Looking forward to seeing those at the Great Collaboration, May 3rd and 4th. Register today. Link is in the chat. We will continue with our trainings next week. There shouldn't be any hindrance or issues. So I will see you guys next week. And once again, truly appreciate the opportunity to share and hope you have a great rest of your week. Good weekend and stay safe. So thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Phil. Thanks.
See you.